notes of vanilla, honey, ginger, and licorice, with a whisper of bonfire smoke.
Single phrase. How would you do it? Try this one on for size. Wealth
It doesn't taste anything like any of those things I just read.
Nature. Short of the beauty of the natural world, literally everything in the world that is useful or worthwhile to any human in all.
May the stars grant me fertile land for my seed and abundant seed for my land.
Where does prosperity come from? There are three glib but correct answers you may have heard knocking around the internet.
Every day people displease me. Commoners are odious. The multitude discontent me.
The room to creatively solve their problems. They invariably resort to invention.
Such a contradictory place that turns logic on its head might almost seem to be upside down.
Costs of piracy in most environments where people can defend their own interests are too high for pirates and other parasites to be a major part of the pie, though they always exist. Recent experience bears this principle out. Appalachia has always been a fairly poor corner of the American Union.
Continue straight onto Green Street.
When Hurricane Helene devastated the region, and the various apparatuses of state told the survivors to go pound sand, or in this case,
In a quarter mile, turn right onto St. Sebastian Way.
setting up their own relief supply lines and resurrecting their towns. The expertise and community solidarity of the mountain peoples of North Carolina put the most powerful state apparatus in the history of human civilization to shame with their efficiency and resourcefulness. Every bit of mud cleared, every temporary retaining wall built, every road reopened, and every driveway restored was a new form of wealth created by humans exercising their creativity and determination in an environment where they could not be constrained by law. The Invisible Hand. In his 18th century magnum opus The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith coined this term for what I've been referring to as ecological balance in a market. The basic idea is that every being in an economy is trying to further the ends he or she finds most laudable, feeding their family, pursuing their craft, enriching their skills, enhancing their communities, building their businesses, etc. And it is this pursuit which leads people to specialize and trade with one another, ultimately bringing each member of the group more wealth than he or she might have been able to create on their own. The farmer grows the food that the blacksmith eats, and the blacksmith makes the tools that the farmer and the forester need. The forester supplies the blacksmith with charcoal, and the farmer with firewood, and builder with lumber, and so on. Technological
At the light, turn right onto St. Sebastian Way.
Prosperity since the Industrial Revolution. Innovative technology opens new market spaces which then have room to mature and spur further broad-based economic growth. It also allows for more
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Walden Way.
Technology and productivity rise together. These answers are all correct, but they are also incomplete. For them to produce rapid economic uplift, they require another key ingredient: population growth. Every new mouth to feed is a new reason to work hard to make money for your family. Every new mouth that gets fed is being fed on the food produced by farmers, petrochemical companies. They will all require books, computers, bicycles, skateboards, toys, pencils, binders, erasers, paper, toilet paper, diapers, shoes, climate-controlled shelter, and everything else that goes into making a modern life. Each new person is, in other words,
On the infinite, the universe, and the worlds. February 17th. That's what they claim was the anniversary of his death. When he was burned upside down, stripped naked at the stake by the Catholic Church for heresy. Burning a man for what he believed, because he believed something different. Because he believed something different based on what he observed, based on what he could see in the world around him, in the universe. How many of us would they burn today if they could? How many? For not believing like the woke like people tell us to believe, for not believing like the Christians tell us to believe. How many of them would burn us today? Does that make them virtuous because they don't? Does that make them good because they don't burn people anymore? Does that make them saintly? I don't think it does. Wish I had more stuff to burn. Hot, very hot. Worried about overheating the camera at this point. Upside down and naked. How about that? Wasn't enough just to burn him. They had to like demoralize him. Yeah. Desecrated. People like to desecrate what they don't agree with. Like to make it look worse than it is. This is how Bruno started off one of his books. O most illustrious knight, if I had driven a plow, herded sheep, cultivated a garden, or trimmed a garment, then no one would have held me in much regard. Few would have seen me, and even fewer chosen to deal with me. And then I could well try to please everyone. But because I have tried to describe the field of nature, consider the disposition of the soul, partake of the life of the mind, and travel like a master artificer through the maze of the intellect. Those who have regarded me have threatened me. Those who have seen me have assailed me. Those who have encountered me have tried to bite me. And those who have understood me have tried to destroy me. Not just one, not a few, but many, or virtually all. If you want to understand why this is so, I will tell you the reason. Every day people displease me. Commoners are odious. The multitude discontent me, and only the singular one is my beloved. Through her I have freedom and subjection, happiness and sorrow, wealth and poverty, and life and death. Through her I escape envy of those who are servants in freedom, have pain even in pleasure, are poor despite their wealth, dead though living. For in their body is that chain that binds them, in their spirit is the hell that oppresses them. Within their soul is the sin that sickens them. Within their mind is the sloth that kills them. For they lack the magnanimity that grants resolve, the endurance for success, the splendor of the illustrious, and the knowledge that enlivens. Thus, I do not avoid the arduous path for want of energy, nor spare my arm from this work for laziness, nor in cowardice shrink from the enemy who confronts me, not dazzled, turn my eyes from the splendor of the divine. I am aware that I have a bit of a reputation as a sophist, more interested in seeming to be clever than in truly being wise, more ambitious to establish a new and false sect than to support that which is old and true, a bird catcher trying to capture splendor and glory, an unquiet spirit trying to undermine the foundations of good discipline by using siege engines of perversity. And he goes on. He goes on. Therefore, my Lord, let the saints disperse those who unjustly hate me. May I always do what is pleasing before my God. May I gain favor with the rulers of this world. May the stars grant me fertile land for my seed and abundant seed for my land, that I might harvest abundant fruits for my labors, that the spirits be awoken and the hearts be opened of all who suffer in darkness. For I certainly make no falsehood. If I err, it is by accident, and I do strive for love of victory itself, because empty success and hollow victory are enemies of God, vile and without honor, and such are not truly triumphs. Rather, I suffer, torment, and tire myself for love of true knowledge and true contemplation. All of this shall I make manifest through demonstrative arguments, dependent on lively reasoning, supported by moderated senses, admitting no false particulars, rather arriving like true ambassadors of objective nature, presenting themselves to the searcher, appearing to the observer, clear to those who would understand, plain to those who would comprehend. So here I present my contemplation of the infinite, the universe, and the innumerable worlds. I liked how cocky he was. I like the way he carried himself. Hey, what's up, YouTube? We're doing quick review video of this Shackleton's whiskey, and also honoring Mars today as Mars goes direct. February 23rd, 2023.
Hello, whiskey fans.
2025, I mean, you know what year it is. I'm
and by day off, I mean
testing you.
Something that probably no one gives a damn about. So there's a lot less pressure, and I can sort of half-ass it a little bit. And today, that thing is Charles McKinley's Shackleton. So with this bottling, they're kind of using
pour some out here from Mars.
A marketing gimmick. And I guess they've probably done that, possibly with cold hard cash, but also because there is a contribution from the sales of this whiskey that will be made to the Antarctic Heritage Trust. This will support both the ongoing care of Shackleton's Antarctic base and the Trust's mission to conserve, share and encourage the spirit of exploration, the spirit embodied by Shackleton. So there's a little bit of a goodwill gesture there. It doesn't say how much.
It says here Shackleton offers robust notes of vanilla, honey, ginger, and licorice, with a whisper of bonfire smoke.
Shackleton was a very early 20th century Antarctic explorer, a British.
Let's see if we can tell anything about that.
Some of them were very successful, but not all of them. But like any decent Brit, he didn't let it get him down, and he just got stuck in. The thing that a lot of nationalities don't understand about us Brits is that we are very modest.
It doesn't taste anything like any of those things I just read.
They go out of their way to do things that are
It tastes.
a little bit different.
Oh, it's.
And that's because we don't like.
If you were stranded in Antarctica,
to have to brag about it later. So you quite often find that, especially British,
you would be glad to have it.
they'll often get
But
almost all the way there. They've sort of done the hard bit, but they leave that.
you'd
last
wish
bit
you
for
had something else.
someone else. Anyway, this
Is what I
Shackleton
believe.
whiskey
You'd
is
wish you had
being
something else to
inspired
drink.
By the whiskey that was taken to the Antarctic by Ernest Shackleton in the very early 20th
Maybe
century.
it's cause
So they found
it sat down there under the ice for so long, and then Mackinlays decided they'd try to reverse engineer it. You know, I can't believe that this is what those guys that went down there were drinking. I can't believe it. I feel worse for them now knowing this. I would rather have 10 other different whiskeys, like right now, like off the top of my head, than this if that was my final stand, you know?
Whiskey that it was this rare old island, they think that
I'll drink it, but oh my God.
and we know that
I'm
this
drinking it in
creation
honor of them.
had some downwards in
Drinking
the
it
world.
in honor of
They
Mars.
mentioned that the original whiskey that they detested was 47.3%.
Coming direct.
This whiskey is not 47.3%. It is 40. And
it tastes funny.
I think it mentions colour, but
Like it makes my tongue vibrate in a weird way that I don't like. Tastes kind of mossy or something.
Of this Shackleton, which were bottled at 47.3 ABV.
So I worked with AI to come up with
This
this
is the mass market release. So
invocation to Mars,
see what we've got.
the god of war.
I don't know why
You know, since he's getting ready to go direct, and since it looks like
the distillery
end of February, early March, mid-March is going to be a big time
mixed drinks, basically,
for the U.S. and for the world, probably. I mean, it's like, looks like there's a lot going on
Probably guess what that is.
astrologically.
An explorer's iced tea. That's a little bit.
And
so we'll just read one of them off. So they're saying
it's going to pay for us to be ready
we start with 25.
for this. And I'll just read it to you here. Let's see. Let me find this show real quick. Yes. Okay, Jesus, Lord God. Which one did I watch? I don't know. That one's a good one there. Shackleton. They ran out of tobacco while they were down there.
Where extremes are
They tried to make their own tobacco, and they got more depressed because they couldn't.
where
they tried
most
to
of the
use-
world's fresh water covers the floor of the Earth's largest desert,
Coffee grounds or something.
where minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit is a balmy summer day.
That's what.
Such a contradictory place that turns logic on its head might almost seem to be upside down. And in a sense, it is. For this least known continent, Antarctica, can be found bound in ice at the bottom of the world. It is the coldest, windiest, driest, cleanest, loneliest of places. At the beginning of the 20th century, this distant planet on Earth became the ultimate test of personal and national ambition.
For that generation, the exploration of Antarctica, I think, was very similar to the competition to reach the moon in the 1960s.
It's there, no one's been there, so we've got to make it. And that's what I think all of them felt.
From the first humans to penetrate Antarctica's frozen heart, to scientists who braved bitter winters at the South Pole, explorers have sacrificed greatly to open the Antarctic wilderness to mankind. This is their story.
People recognize that there are places in the world where it's not easy to live and want to feel what it's like to be part of nature in its extreme.
You have the science, you have the exploration, you have basically what I'd call the inspiration.
There is no way to deny the magnificence of this place.
It's just magnificent beyond belief.
Antarctica. Vast. Silent. Frozen. Empty. And, as a result, irresistible. To us, it might seem almost a stage awaiting actors. But the human...
Mars, god of war, hear me. As you go direct today on this day, February 23rd, 2025, I call upon your strength, discipline, and fire. This is a war without war, a war unspoken yet we see it, a war denied yet we feel it, a war at hand they refuse to name. But we know. Shield up, protect their families, their homes, and all who stand strong. May the man who kills us be the greatest fighter in the world. Strengthen us, give us the will to endure, to fight in ways unseen. Sustain us. Watch over the farmers, the gardeners, the hands that feed not only themselves but others. Mars, shield us, strengthen us, sustain us. Let courage rise. Let fear burn away. Let those who see stand together. Mars, I honor you. I welcome your fire. I call upon your might, to strength, to protection, to victory.
It's a very low angle, it doesn't provide a lot of heat, and the resultant is that it's the coldest place on Earth.
Inland temperatures that regularly reach 100 degrees Fahrenheit below zero fostered the growth of Antarctica's most distinctive feature.
100 degrees below what?
About 25 million years ago, an ice sheet began coating the entire continent, which had, in prehistoric times, been a life-rich temperate zone. Today, 7 million cubic miles of ice, a sheet from 1 to 3 miles thick, covers everything but Antarctica's coastal areas and mountaintops.
In the wintertime, the ocean around Antarctica freezes and expands the land area of the Antarctic continent by more than 100%. In other words, the continent doubles in size.
But Antarctica's most dramatic feature of all are its icebergs. They result from the constant downhill flow of glaciers from the interior to the edge of the continent. Slabs of glaciers break off and fall into the sea to form icebergs. These massive forms, some the size of small countries, can have a lifespan of as long as 4 years, circling the continent by the thousands before drifting north and melting.
Geographical societies throughout the world came to a decision that the greatest piece of geographical exploration yet to be undertaken is the Antarctic.
The Geographical Congress inspired a flurry of expeditions from nations around the world during what would be known as the heroic age of Antarctic exploration.
The heroic age.
To 1922.
Yeah. Why can't we have a heroic age again?
Clements Markham, the president of the Royal Geographical Society and a former midshipman in the British Navy,
2025.
and national honor awaited the
The
first man to
heroic
place his
age.
footprints in the snow at the South Pole.